Good Lord have mercy. Just heard that Kiyre Irving was on Instagram Live. Should I leave it alone?
Pay attention to what's going on out in the real world. People are losing their jobs to these mandates. People are having to make choices with their own lives, which I respect.
So since the last time I made a Kiyre Irving video, there's been multiple twists and turns that we never saw coming. One, his teammates are visibly frustrated with him.
Have you talked to Kyrie since?
No, I haven't talked to him.
In a more recent twist, I think the Brooklyn Nets are at a brand new level of frustration with Kyrie. Originally, they were putting a lot of pressure on the guy to get the vaccine, and all of a sudden, it's gotten to a point where they may be headed towards a breakup. Before we get to all this content, a lot of the stuff I'm gonna say in this video might be controversial, so if you're a true blue member of Mike Mafia and you want to support me against a bunch of haters and you just don't want to shoot the messenger for bringing you this information, do me a favor and take a moment to smack the like button for the YouTube algorithm. If you're subscribed and have my notifications on, that's a great way to get NBA news straight to your device, and we're also doing shorter versions of these videos on my TikTok, which is also my name, @TheFlightMike. I've been giving away a lot of copies of NBA 2K22 on my Instagram story. I think it's kind of beginning to fizzle out, so if you have other things you want me to give away for you guys subscribing to me or you guys following me on Instagram and Twitter, please give me suggestions either on my latest picture on Instagram, on Twitter, or just comment in the comment section down below. Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? So before I jump into my take on Kiyre Irving and give you an update on this entire situation, I just wanted to mention that this man has done a lot of good for society as well. He bought George Floyd's mom a house. He paid tuition for about 9 HBCU students. He bought 200 plus kids Christmas presents. He's provided $250,000 worth of Thanksgiving meals in New York City, and he's donated $1.5 million to WNBA players. So there have been instances where he's done a lot of good with his platform. So I just want to remind you that this man has done a lot of good for society as well before we jump into this fairly bizarre situation. For those of you guys that don't know who Kiyre Irving is, he is by far one of the most talented basketball players in the entire NBA, easily cracking the top 7 best players in the NBA. Some people can even make an argument for him being top 5, others will say he's top 10. To give you an idea of how good this guy is, he literally averaged 50% from the field last year, 40% from 3 last year, and shot 90% from the free throw line, all while treating basketball like it's some sort of side hobby to other things that are more important to him. And that's not a knock on the man's character, rather it's more a testament to how talented this guy is at the game of basketball. But recently he's been coming under fire, mainly because of his very unique vaccine stance. And to be honest, I'm not coming out here attacking him for being anti-vax, because if you ask him, he is not anti-vax. Rather, if you take a look at this entire scenario, you'll understand why we're making this video. So to get you caught up with everything, the NBA issued a vaccine mandate like multiple other professions that required more or less all of their players to get vaccinated if they wanted to participate in the full NBA season. This put a lot of pressure on individuals that typically would not get vaccinated. Players like Bradley Beal and Andrew Wiggins and Jonathan Isaac had an issue with this. Eventually, some of them did get vaccinated, like Andrew Wiggins, whereas others, such as Kiyre Irving, are putting up one hell of a fight. As a result, there has been some pressure in regards to Kiyre Irving potentially being able to participate this season. So the very first domino that was to fall is, since Kiyre Irving isn't vaccinated, technically he can't participate in games, in home games, in the state of New York. Now there are some other states where he is allowed to play, technically speaking. So on October 8th, 2021, Steve Nash said, "It sounds like we may have Kiyre Irving on the road with us, but I'm not sure he'll be playing since we haven't seen him for a week, and obviously safety first." Something else that occurred during that day, the state of New York came out and said that Kiyre Irving will be able to at least practice at the Brooklyn Nets team facility in Brooklyn. And the reason for this is because the city determined that the HSS Training Center, which is the Brooklyn Nets practice facility, is considered to be a quote-unquote private office building as opposed to an indoor gym, one of the many indoor facilities that fall under the city's vaccine mandate that went into effect last month. So pretty much the city ruled that, hey, we can make a little loophole just because this is probably the best chance we've ever had at potentially winning a NBA championship. Let's try to at least allow Kiyre Irving to play basketball and practice with his team. But that all completely got destroyed 4 days later by the Brooklyn Nets' own general manager, Sean Marks. He came out and issued this statement that read, "Given the evolving nature of the situation and after thorough deliberation, we have decided Kiyre Irving will not play or practice with the team until he is eligible to be a full participant. Kiyre has made a personal choice and we respect his individual right to choose. Currently, the choice restricts his ability to be a full-time member of the team, and we will not permit any member of our team to participate with part-time availability. It is imperative that we continue to build chemistry as a team and remain true to our long-established values of togetherness and sacrifice. Our championship goals for the season have not changed, and to achieve these goals, each member of our organization must pull in the same direction. We are excited for the start of the season and look forward to a successful campaign that will make the borough proud." Now, through this all, Kevin Durant seemed to be fairly patient with Kiyre Irving's stance, saying things like, "I believe Kiyre Irving will be playing with us, perhaps I am naive." And I guess it's because Kevin Durant kind of has a better idea of Kiyre Irving's personality, but apparently James Harden is supporting Kiyre Irving through this entire situation as well.
I want him to be on the team, of course. That chemistry that we built. He's just a special talent that you don't really see often.
Which kind of sounds funny because if you look at this interview, when the media asked James Harden if he recently spoke to Kiyre Irving, take a look at his response. I want to give a huge shout out to today's video sponsor, Bounty Sports. Guys, you know me personally, I do love playing daily fantasy sports, and Bounty Sports is by far the best platform to do it on. They built a pick'em style daily fantasy sports platform that gives everyone a fair chance to win. It's incredibly easy to play and offers a fun, low stakes gaming experience that'll get you a little bit more into your favorite games. Just pick the teams that you think will win the night's game, play against other fans, and win cash prizes. It's as simple as that. Bounty has contests for NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, MMA, soccer, golf, and more, and there's new contests that are live every day. Now, I always say the best websites will let you try their product for free, and that's what Bounty is doing with me here by letting you use my promo code FlightMike to get $5 automatically added to your account. So let's put this $5 to good use, shall we? Now, signing up is super easy. You just go over here and put in all your information and make sure you put my referral code FlightMike. And then once you're on the website, you do have multiple contests that you could pick from. So for NBA, let's go ahead and click on the NBA Pick'em. The start date is on October 19th, 2021. And all you have to do is pick your games over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and, I'm a huge Laker fan, but they seem to have a little ways to go before they establish that chemistry, you know? And then after you have all of your picks ready, you just have to click enroll over here. $1 to enroll to potentially win $27. So hopefully we could turn this free referral bonus for using my promo code FlightMike into some cash. It's as simple as that. Make sure you use my promo code to get the $5 free bonus, and hopefully you could turn out to make some money off of this. At the very least, it's an extra way to get more engaged and into the games. And thank you, Bounty Sports, for the sponsor.
Say it again?
Have you talked to Kiyre since?
No, I haven't talked to him.
And that brings us to where we are currently today. And in the past 24 hours, we got a bunch of information coming out in regards to Kiyre Irving. And the very first piece of information we got is the Brooklyn Nets will not offer Kiyre Irving a $186 million contract extension amid the COVID-19 saga. This is pretty significant. If you remember, going back to the 2019 free agency period, which was probably one of the best free agency periods we had in recent memory. This was the free agency period where you saw Kevin Durant change teams, Kiyre Irving change teams, Kawhi Leonard won a championship with Toronto, and then he changed teams and he got Paul George traded as well as a result of it. Anthony Davis got traded to the Lakers. This was a completely NBA landscape shaping offseason if you go back to it. And one of the controversial things that happened was Kiyre Irving was originally a member of the Boston Celtics. He committed to the Boston Celtics, even famously saying in an interview that he is not about leaving the Boston Celtics, even famously saying in the TD Garden while he was the member of the Celtics that he wants to sign a contract extension there. Well, he went ahead and he kind of began the paradigm shift in forming a super team in Brooklyn. If you remember, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving during that 2018 to 2019 season were seen together a fairly decent amount of times. If you remember, there were memes about them at shoot-arounds. People kind of poked fun at their bromance, and ultimately, Kyrie Irving kind of convinced Kevin Durant to leave the Golden State Warriors, come to the Brooklyn Nets, and form a dynamic duo with Kyrie. So Shams Charania came out and said in regards to the Brooklyn Nets potentially moving on from Kyrie, that clearly at the end of the day, that is not something they felt like they wanted to do. And this is in regards to Brooklyn's option to play Kyrie Irving on road games this season, where he would be eligible regardless of his vaccine status, saying he was willing to sacrifice at the end of the day $16 million in salary this upcoming year and $186 million as far as an extension that he will not be offered now. Now, taking this at face value, you could say, I mean, Kyrie Irving wasn't going to get offered this contract extension anyways. Typically, how free agents do their contracts during their final years is they sign a player option where they could opt in if things haven't gone well for them over the past year, or they could opt out right before and sign an even bigger contract during the free agency period. Very rarely do you see in-season contract extensions. A good example of this would be how the Lakers handled Anthony Davis. They offered him a contract extension just for the formality of it. He turned it down, and then they eventually signed him for more money during the offseason. So this could be absolutely nothing if you take a look at it. But if you pay attention to the language of everyone around Kyrie Irving, it sounds like a lot of people are fed up with his antics. And to be honest, I can't really blame him, because a lot of the things he's saying sounds fairly hypocritical. If he was anti-vaccination, then I understand. I would not agree with him, but I would respect it. It's his stance, and you can't really argue about being pro-vax or anti-vax, because in my head, that's pretty much like arguing about religion. People are gonna believe what they believe in, and I guess you have to respect it even though you disagree with it. But in this instance, Kyrie Irving isn't anti-vax. He just wants to take a stand for workers that are being forced to get the vaccine.
People are losing their jobs to these mandates. People are having to make choices with their own lives, which I respect. You know, what would you do?
Which is absolutely freaking ridiculous. You're now jeopardizing an entire NBA season where people are literally risking their lives. If you look at LaMarcus Aldridge, he is not supposed to be playing basketball right now. You have players that this is probably their only shot at a championship, like Paul Millsap, LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin, James Harden. And you're coming out and saying, okay, this is my best chance to take a stand for workers that are being forced to take a vaccine. And then you have other people that honestly, with all due respect, are clueless in regards to the situation, because a man that is more notorious for eating Vaseline on camera,
take some Vaseline and swallow it,
and formerly selling $15 shoes at Dick's Sporting Goods, Stephon Marbury, came out and said to Kyrie Irving, Muhammad Ali would be proud of you. But then there's this one video of Muhammad Ali literally promoting vaccinations.
The law says if your kids don't have their shots for dangerous diseases like mumps, measles, and polio, they aren't getting into school. The law also says they must go to school, so you have no choice. Get your kids their shots.
And it's really ironic because Stephon Marbury was notorious for just being a horrible team player during his time in the NBA. That's why he ultimately found himself in China, where he became a superstar, and more power to Stephon Marbury. Now, the purpose of this video isn't me saying, hey, Kyrie is an idiot for not getting vaccinated. Honestly, at the end of the day, if Kyrie is so anti-vaccinations that he's willing to give up potentially $200 million and irritate probably his closest friends on the basketball court, then fine, if that's truly what he believes in. But to come out and say you're taking a stand because of workers that are being forced to take the vaccine, in my opinion, is absolutely ridiculous. Because with all due respect, what's going to end up happening to Kyrie Irving if he takes the stand is eventually he's going to lose his platform. Eventually he's going to fall away from the spotlight. Yeah, maybe he will be able to have a similar effect on society as Colin Kaepernick did. But to be honest, what is more likely to end up happening is he's going to fall away from the spotlight. You're going to hear about him once every couple of months. He's already made his money, so I could respect the fact that that he's not as into basketball anymore. But I think this is also very selfish of him because all of his teammates around him got the vaccine. Some may have believed in it, some may have not, but they all made the sacrifice just so they could potentially compete for a championship together. And Kiyre Irving is robbing them of that opportunity to potentially win a championship this season. I said this the very moment the James Harden trade went down and Kevin Durant, Kiyre Irving, and James Harden formed the big three, and I'll repeat it again. The Brooklyn Nets are possibly the best team in the NBA, but the only thing that will get in the way of the Brooklyn Nets and true greatness is themselves, and it looks like that's already what's happening. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this. Do you agree with Kiyre Irving, or do you think that he's kind of losing his mind on this? Do you believe he's taking a stand for something that's truly right, or do you think this is just Kiyre Irving being Kiyre Irving trying to grab headlines? If you're Kiyre Irving, what would you do? And if you're the Brooklyn Nets, what would you do? Would you trade Kiyre Irving? Because that is starting to become a topic of conversation as well. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.